So I will apologize in advance that when I'm reading, I may be looking down, not looking at the screen when I'm doing my presentation. Just I'm not ignoring you. It's just, or avoiding eye contact.
So welcome everyone to the public hearing for the Northwest Territories Electoral Boundaries Commission 2021-2022. My name is Danielle Mauger. I'm the Secretary to the Electoral Boundaries Commission and will be the moderator this afternoon. With me virtually is Mr. Ted Richard, Chair of the Commission, and Commission members Mr. Glenn Abernethy and Mr. Jack Rowe. The Northwest Territories Legislative Assembly is required to establish an independent Electoral Boundaries Commission after every second general election in the Northwest Territories. The responsibility of the Commission is to review the number, size, and boundaries of the existing electoral districts or ridings, and then report to the Legislative Assembly with the Commission's recommendations regarding any proposed changes that ought to be made to the area, boundaries, name, and representation of the electoral districts. The Commission released their interim report late last year, and in the report, 2 options were given for public discussion. The public hearing today is for the Commission to hear from you on your thoughts on the options presented in the interim report, or to hear any other options that maybe the Commission didn't think of, and also to open up discussion on what recommendations should be made to the Legislative Assembly during the May-June sitting. I will now give the Chair of the Commission, Mr. Ted Richard, an opportunity to address the public, and then we'll go through the list of presenters. Mr. Richard.
Thank you, Danielle. Yes, very briefly, on behalf of myself and my 2 colleagues, we want to hear from the public, and this afternoon we're going to hear from some individuals, and this is going to assist the Commission in our ongoing work leading up to our final report with recommendations to the legislature. As people are aware, our interim report was issued in early December, and in there we covered a number of topics, some of them broad, such as the size of the legislature, how many ridings and how many MLAs there should be going forward. And we also put on the table for discussion 2 particular options. One, which is essentially the status quo, which we called, in our discussion paper, we called option A, continuing with 19 seats with a few minor adjustments in a couple of the ridings. And the other option we put on the table for discussion purposes, and what we called option B, was to reduce the size of the legislature by 3 seats. And in particular, that option would see a reduction of 1 seat in Yellowknife from 7 seats to 6. Would see Inuvik reduced from 2 seats to 1, and Hay River similarly from 2 seats to 1. So those are thrown out for discussion purposes, and we've already received comments from some individuals, and we're hoping to hear some more this afternoon in our other hearing, which is scheduled for Thursday evening this week as well. So welcome to everyone, and I'll just throw in one more reminder from myself that in addition to these oral presentations we're getting this week at our hearings, people are certainly free to send written submissions to the Commission, and you can do that by through our website, and Danielle will be giving the particulars of our website before the close of the hearing today. So welcome everyone, and I'll turn it back to our moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. I have a short list of presenters for this afternoon who've requested to address the Commission. Once the listed presenters have spoken, we will open the floor up for further discussion. We are waiting for a few other people to join via Zoom. But this afternoon, we're going to begin with Mr. Grant Hood of the town of Inuvik. Go ahead, Mr. Hood.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. As noted, my name is Grant Hood, and I'm the Senior Administrative Officer for the Town of Inuvik, and I'm here to present on behalf of the Town of Inuvik Council. First, I would like to thank the Commission for this opportunity to allow our voice to be heard regarding this very important review of the NWT electoral boundaries and also your interim report. As you are aware, the town has also submitted a written response to the report, so I will be keeping my comments in this presentation very short. In the Northwest Territories, we face many challenges, as we all know. This is noted in your report under Other Factors section, where you state the simple challenges of geography and the way the population of the territory is spread out. Because of this, the town of Inuvik cautions the Commission not to get overly caught up in statistics, in which some ways it does regarding the 4 urban areas referred to in your report. In the report, it talks of community interests in relation to Indigenous groups and languages. And Inuvik in many ways falls under this category. It has a very diverse culture associated with it, where 2 large Indigenous groups, the Gwich'in and the Inuvialuit, along with Métis and non-Indigenous community members, work together to make Inuvik a great place to live and work. It is more than just an economic and government hub, however, for the Beaufort Delta, but also an important center for research, education, and technology. Earlier, I noted the challenges the NWT faces with our geography. The Beaufort Delta and Inuvik represent a microcosm of the NWT due to its location in relation to the rest of the territory and its access to the area. We have a strong presence with a full-service hospital, Aurora College campus, and Aurora Research Facility. By reducing to Inuvik to 1 electoral district can only reduce the voice of this very diverse community. What does all this have to do with electoral boundaries, you may ask? Our response goes back to the report identifying special electoral districts. While in your report you say the mandate of the Commission is not merely a mathematical exercise and has a small section on other factors, it still puts a large emphasis on statistics, the number of ridings, and deviation from the average population a multitude of times, especially for the 4 urban areas. With the fact that the NWT has a consensus form of government, and I'm not here to argue for or against that, it does provide a potential for Inuvik to have an MLA on both sides of the legislature. In fact, that is our preference we have. There was a time when both MLAs were on the government side of the House, and it made it very difficult. We fully realize there are some districts with 1 MLA, and that one could be in cabinet. However, given the importance of Inuvik and its relation to the area and the territory, having one on each side works well. In your report, the Commission outlines 2 options. As you can tell, noted in our written submission, the town supports option A, which is to realign the boundaries within Inuvik and Hay River. We do feel that Hay River should also have 2 electoral districts, nor do we endorse reducing the number of districts within Yellowknife given its population and location. We caution the Commission not to consider reduced costs to reducing the number of districts comes with option B, even though the GNWT faces a financial challenge. This is just a short presentation, and it concludes my presentation. I would like to repeat my thanks for this opportunity to address the Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Hood, for your presentation to the Commission. Commission members, did you want to open up any discussion with Mr. Hood?
No, for myself, Ted here, I'm fine. I completely understand what Mr. Hood has said, and as was the mayor's letter. I think we've got your message fairly clearly, and I don't have any questions or needing any explanation. Thank you, Mr. Hood.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you again for your presentation. And just so you know, I have uploaded your written submission onto the Electoral Boundaries website at nwtelectoralboundaries.ca.
Thank you.
Mr. Richard, we do have a few viewers on Facebook. I don't notice any chats from the group quite yet, but I wonder if, like we did last night, if you wanted to run through the 2 options that were presented in the interim report, just so we can wait for a little bit to see if anybody else shows for their presentations, because we have 3 other people noted that we're hoping to present this afternoon.
But I take it they're not available right now, are they, to do the presentation?
No, they're not in the they're not on the Zoom call quite yet.
I see Todd still there. Does Todd want to talk while there's still an opportunity so we can get back to work?
I'd love to.
Oh, we lost you, Todd, but you're back. Of course, yeah. Over to you, Todd.
You might wish I never went anywhere, or I had gone somewhere. I want to thank the commissioner for the opportunity to speak to you, because I'm gonna be a little critical here, and I wasn't real impressed in terms of the report. First off, I thought I'll start on a highlight. Listen, this was a very well laid out report. Thought that part was very good, but for 150 Gs, we should have got something back that met the terms and conditions that you guys were given. I understand that they're just guidelines and you didn't have to, but I expected more on a personal level. And so just on that procedural sense, I've read the report. The recommendation speaks to create two different types of voting systems. Those of us here, Yellowknife and Inuvik River, the urban sector, as you call it, and then everybody else. And I can appreciate wanting to screw over the capital city. Like, that is a time-honored tradition in every jurisdiction in this country. But you can't do it like this. Your math is bad, and Mr. Hood was just talking about, hey, it's highly statistical, and the reality is that the creation of this urban group allows internal comparisons and allows you to get your riding means under that threshold that you were given, but that's misplaced. And listen, I get it. You're like, hey, who's this guy? It's just, not just your opinion, man. But it's not just my opinion. It's the opinion of Justin Charbonneau in that last challenge in 2015. She calculated the same way that I'm going to lay out here. You add up all of the ridings, and that gives you your mean. There's one set of voters, there's one legislature. That's how we get to that point. That conclusion in the report that, hey, the means in the urban ridings are more or less the same. That's not incorrect, but like the Flames are in first place. That doesn't have any impact on electoral means either. And so working the numbers this way and creating these special ridings, we're all residents of this territory, and we all have relative parity. And you talk about this, and so what that means is one slate of citizens. And when you calculate that, here in Yellowknife, we're all underrepresented yet again, above that 25% threshold. And so what of it? Yellowknife gets screwed. Usually that's not the biggest issue. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it's not the biggest issue now either. But this has been going on for a while. So when you ask, hey, do you like option A or option B? I think that's a false choice. It's not pick one or the other. The remedy is go back to the drawing board and do something that achieves the guidelines that you were given, the terms of reference that you were given, and achieves those lofty morals that you laid out. Voter parity, that we're all more or less the same. And so, to me, that's that procedural aspect. And I just, on a personal level, I want to focus on the 25% for a second. And, hey, we all live in the real world. The NWT is not the best jurisdiction to apply a narrow constraint. And so that 25% is higher than other jurisdictions, and it provides the leeway and flexibility so that you don't have to change it every single time. But it's not, to me, I don't think it's right that you're looking at that as the threshold for change, that this is the trigger in which, we now must change. For a while now, we've been, relatively highly, I live in Yellowknife North, right? 3,500 people, way above the average. And that's not unusual. It's been like that for a while. And so, in the world I work in, adaptive management. Well, we have this trend over and over again. And, the point of the 25% is it represents a final point at which if you haven't adjusted before that, you must. And so when I see this report, you guys all knew this was the case, and you chose really to do nothing about it. And that's weak. Like, I read your resumes, Glenn. We cross paths. I know you're better people than that, and I really expected more. And then, speaking to the outcomes, like, I don't want 20 MLAs. I don't want 21 MLAs. But if you create this class of special ridings, that there's exceptional circumstances with it, and there is a role for that here, but to create 7 out of 19, it creates a problem that, especially in the future, you can't put it back in the bottle. That imbalance is going to grow, and it makes it worse when we look down the road. So, I appreciate the work that went into it, and I appreciate what you were trying to do here in terms of providing a road forward for a justifiable status quo. But hard decisions need to be made that reflect the conditions on the ground. And I just encourage you guys to think about going back and reconsidering both of the ideals that you were working under and the terms of reference you were given. If it involves adding a MLA for Yellowknife, listen, nobody in this territory is going to like that idea. I'm not going to like it, but that's what seems procedurally fair to me here. And yeah, I do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys, and because I was being critical, I wanted to come and say it to the commission. And in 5 years or whatever the recurrent cycle is, I anticipate we'll be doing it again. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Slack, for your presentation. Commission members, do any of you have any discussion items for Mr. Slack or for the public?
No, Ted Bouchard here. I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Slack, for your input. And I've made my own notes, but we'll have a record of if I've missed any of the points. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. Right now, we don't have any other people in the waiting room on our Zoom call, so that will be the end of this public hearing today. Thank you very much to everyone for attending the public hearing this afternoon. The discussion was very thorough and thoughtful. The Commission will be holding one more public hearing tomorrow evening, Thursday, February the 17th at 7:00 p.m. Please contact me, Danielle Mauger, at info@nwtelectoralboundaries.ca for public hearing login information. Please be sure to watch for the Electoral Boundaries Commission's final report, which will include recommendations to the Legislative Assembly. Note that the deadline for written submissions has been extended to Monday, February the 28th at 5:00 p.m. Please visit nwtelectoralboundaries.ca to make your written submission or to view and read the interim report. You can also email any submissions to info@nwtelectoralboundaries.ca, or you can call me at 867-445-6005, and I can help you with your written submission on getting it submitted. Thank you very much for coming up and viewing the Electoral Boundaries public hearing. And again, if you would like to have information on the login information for the Zoom info for tomorrow's public hearing, please contact me at info@nwtelectoralboundaries.ca. Thank you and have a great day. We're all done.